This week on Two Noobs, social media becoming porn before our very eyes. Hey, we got a new subscriber to Instagram. No, one button. Okay. Then, the FDA is cracking down on food manufacturers for not including allergens in their food. Have we entered Bizarro world? Next, the Trump-Biden debate. No, not really. Instead, we crap on EVs again, as nearly half of people who own them want their combustion vehicles back. And then finally, we conclude with some wrestle talk. Matt and John are just going to go off for 20 minutes. Over 40 rant redux? We'll find out. Hey, Mitchkoff is coming! Start the music!
Oh, man. I knew this was going to happen. One of these days, hey, John. What's going on, man?
I was looking for Steve, but I can't find him anywhere.
Yeah, I can't find him anywhere either. This is crazy. And I knew it was going to happen, too. Once he, goes on vacation, everything just goes to complete crap.
Yeah. He doesn't care.
He doesn't care. He's down at the shore. Welcome,
everybody.
A good time. Yeah, exactly. Welcome, everybody, to another great episode of Two Noobs Talking. It's the original guys with you. Episode 196 with John Tracy. Of course, I am Matt Craig. I should say with Jumpin' John Tracy. I am mellowed out Matt Craig.
I jumped.
There you go. I'm doing all that. John, what's going on, man? How you been? What's happening?
Hanging out in good old Lubbock, Texas.
Whoa.
Yeah, good.
Not far from the home base, right?
No. I'm a couple 7 hours maybe.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So.
Okay.
Yeah, I love West Texas. I was just up, and Steve will get a kick out of us. I was just up in Amarillo for a couple hours, and it reminded me of the episode that me and Steve did about the weird creature at the Amarillo Zoo. Yeah, I didn't have enough time. I was going to go to the zoo and run around and photos, but I didn't have time. I had to get back to what I was doing. But next time I'm around, I'm going to try again. So.
Oh, man. That's awesome. Great news on my front. I'm actually heading back into an office building for the first time in 4 years. Can't believe that. So I'm actually pretty excited about it. It's like everything is finally getting squared away where it's like I've got work at work, home at home, church. Can't ask for anything better.
Isn't that so much nicer?
Oh, yeah. It's so much nicer. Yeah. So much nicer. I know it's not for everybody, but for me, I'm happy for me. That's what I'm happy about. That kind of a deal. So.
And I just want to see people happy. So
absolutely
the debate of remote and at home. I just leave that for the internet because I want you to be happy and you want to be in the office. I love working remotely and would never want to be in an office, but it's not your cup of tea, and what I do is not.
Exactly.
And it's fine. You can still be friends with people. It doesn't have to be. You don't have to line everything up. It's not freaking
exactly
Voltron.
Right. Yeah, that's exactly right. Exactly right. Well, why don't we just go ahead and just dive right into our Dubby Energy Drink Fun Fact of the Week, brought to you, of course, by Dubby Energy Drinks. Visit dubby.gg. And, of course, if you enter in our promo code, Two Noobs Talking, TOONOOBS Talking. Yes, I said BS. I didn't go BS.
Yes,
talking.
you did.
You can get 10% off our order. Hey, John, if you're ever interested, Dubby has a Push and Punch energy drink tub. It consists of all kinds of really cool flavors. Most of them are basically a fruit punch with sweet limes, and lemon, is what Matt was trying to say.
Nice.
Not only that, but it also has terrific brain food. L-taurine, L-tyrosine, L-glutamine, L-citrulline. All of that is thrown in there to give you the best amino acids that benefit brain function. Not to mention other vitamins like B12, B6, B3, and, of course, vitamin C. So again, if you use our promo code, Two Noobs Talking, you get 10% off of that tub. The tub right now is selling at $40. So there you go, $4 off just for listening to us. How about that? So Johnny,
take that, internet.
Of the week. Yeah, exactly. Lay a fun fact on us. What do you got?
Yes, my fun fact is the first known speeding ticket. I'm sure the internet will find another one. But the first known speeding ticket was issued to Walter Arnold in 1896. This crazy bastard was going 8 miles an hour
Oh, look
because
out.
the speed limit was 2.
4 times the amount of the speed limit, Johnny. I don't know.
They should have
that-
thrown him in the pokey. How dare you go 8 miles an hour?
Exactly. That must have been, the horse must have been going really quick for him to have to slow
Lunatic.
down and stuff. Wow. I wonder what the fine was. Probably 5 cents, right? I mean, that would have been like,
Yeah, that's
$20
not
back
going
then.
rate for, fines back then.
yeah, exactly. Wow. That's amazing. 1896. I mean, that's got to be like framed up somewhere or probably thrown out in the trash and disintegrated. It could be either
who
one.
knows? Who knows what town it was even in?
Exactly. Well, I guess for me, the over 40, it does fall on me this week. The
Yes.
over 40 rant. And this is not in response to the debate, because the debate was predictably horrible. It was a
But also
disaster.
in response to the debate.
Right. We're not going to talk about that, thank God. But I will say this, my rant is mostly geared towards folks that are not involved in politics, who are seeing all of this and going like, oh my gosh, this is really awful. There's nothing I can do. No, there is something you can do. If you feel motivated to want to go into politics and actually, be normal, I would encourage you to do that. I would really strongly encourage you to do that. I can't stand a narcissist, Lex Luger,
Right, Luger.
right? I can't stand the guy on the left who was a complete narcissist, Lex Luger. And then you also had a senile old guy
Who might also be a narcissist.
Lex Luger. Johnny, it's like, I think that's pretty much where we're at with all this, right? I mean, that's...
Yes. Steve's phrase still rings true every day I go out into this world. Garbage
Yeah.
in, garbage out.
Garbage out.
It's just what it is. Yeah, it's an
Yeah.
opportunity. It's a huge opportunity for a lot of people. This is the best we've got. And I know this is the best we have.
Yeah.
But this is the best we got. But this is the
Yeah.
best we have. And I would like to see, there are a few people, I keep hearing Dr. Ben Carson's name get thrown around.
Yeah.
Very smart human being. I would like him maybe to put his hat in the ring wherever.
Yeah.
Very smart human being.
Yeah. The time of politicians, I mean, it's going to take a long time. I
Yeah.
grant you that. But
flush the
you
system,
got to
yes.
start somewhere. You have to start somewhere. And, if anything, we just need the humble, strong leadership that can just get up there, articulate their ideas with class, with dignity. Because what we've got right now is just the absolute 100% opposite of that. And we need to fix that. We
Yes.
absolutely need to fix it, starting at the ground level. So hopefully that happens. So we'll see how that goes. But John, I guess we ought to just dive right into topic one. Why don't we do a
Sure.
little riffing here?
Okay.
You and I have been kind of just like going back and forth. You and I, of course, get our news on social media a lot.
Yeah, some, yes.
We do. But there's also a dark side to social media. And I think we kind of wanted to just talk about that,
Oh, absolutely.
kind of like on an ad lib. So tell me what's on your mind, brother. Like,
Well, my
what's
thought
going
of
on?
bringing this up was it is, you do follow a lot of, when you use social media, especially like Instagram, and we were talking about this with Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter and all that. I follow all the major news channels, newspapers on all of them because that's how I read my newspaper. I don't read my newspaper from the newspaper anymore because
Yeah.
I just don't. And I prefer to read bigger newspapers because I'm in small towns all the time. I don't need to
Sure.
know that speed bump just got replaced after 10 years. Like, I don't need to know that kind of stuff. I want to know the real stuff, and I want to know it as quick as possible. A, because we do a podcast, and B, because I'm want to be informed. I
Yeah.
don't want to
Sure.
sound like an idiot when I'm talking. So, but what we were talking about is, yes, we do that. But what me and you were talking about with Steve was what are the downfalls of this? And this is to piggyback
Yeah.
on the Surgeon General kind of wanting to put a warning. And this is more in depth why I agree with him so much is because porn sites use these to get to everybody.
Oh, yeah.
And the porn industry is what? $160 billion industry. So they have the money to bot people to
death on this. Yes.
But on Instagram, there is a security function where you can get all that stuff hidden. Also on
Yeah.
Twitter, you can do it. I don't know exactly how I did it from a YouTube video because it was really starting to freak me out because I would get a message and normally I talk to you, my wife, and my children on Instagram, and I would
Yep.
look at them and I don't want to see that. Like,
Nope.
not interested in that. So
Yeah.
I was able to go on YouTube and
And
hit
figure
this
that out.
button, and now it just I don't get anything,
Yeah.
which
Oh,
is
that's
good.
good.
But that's also kind of what I wanted to bring up. Is there ways around it um to get rid of it? Twitter just put out a press release after they were called the world's biggest porn site by
Yeah.
a right wing
Yep.
person, and I have a tendency to agree with this person
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
because Twitter's as dirty as Reddit
oh,
if
yeah.
you're looking for it to be dirty.
Absolutely. Yeah. And you could train that algorithm to make it as dirty as you want, or as,
Yep.
and you could do it obviously in the opposite way.
Yes.
I remember when I always had Facebook going back to like 2008, 2009. Someone had asked me to,
And around the same
you should
time
do
me,
it.
yeah.
I was like, okay, fine, I'll do it. And I set it up and it was fine at the beginning part. And then really it was, I guess, probably around when I got the Instagram account, that's when it was really like, you could see it like almost
Yep.
immediately. You just have to go right to that search function to search it for anybody on Instagram. And, you go to that screen, it has all of the different things and it's just a hodgepodge of whatever. And you see these chicks all over the place and it's like, whoa, like, I don't need to see any of this. And luckily, like, I've had the mental discipline to change that,
Yes.
where it's basically, okay, hide. And it's annoying as hell. But to hide
is.
it, you're basically just training an algorithm to say, nope, don't want it. And eventually it finally, like, it's no longer on the app that whenever I pull up Instagram, it just is no longer. And I made sure that also it's private. So my own account is private. So I don't get any of that stuff coming in. But yeah, it's one of the biggest pariahs in our society today. It just persists and persists and persists. It doesn't stop. And I think the one thing that I've seen, there's one girl I follow, I think it's Brett Cooper, of the Daily Wire. Really, really smart chick. And she basically is like of the young generation. She's like maybe in her early 20s. And she's like, I think she's starting to stand up for a lot of the millennials and the younger generations. They're sick to death of sex. They're just sick of it.
Well,
That's all they've been like infiltrated with ever since they've arrived.
Yeah, since they were children because of the internet.
Yeah, and it's like, it really didn't hit me until she said it, that it was like, oh my gosh, yeah, that kind of makes sense, that all of a sudden it's like you've been taught, here's your entertainment right here on your screen. And if you're not careful as a young kid and you start searching on Instagram and it's not filtered out properly, look out, and that's one of the things you have to kind of watch out for, because there's science that's out there that if you do it too much, it messes with your mind.
Yes.
It really does. It absolutely messes with your mind and everything. But yeah, I don't know. Do you think that warning label, kind of what we were talking about last week,
Yeah.
do you think it will help? Do you think, or is it more? I mean, what do you think about all of that?
I
Johnny?
mean, agreeing with Steve almost, like the Surgeon General putting a warning on a pack of cigarettes doesn't stop people from smoking.
yeah,
But that actually made me think of something, and I really wish he was here because I think
yeah,
I think he'd be great for this conversation. But I look at, 'cause I remember my first cigarette, but I also remember when I signed up for Facebook.
Yeah.
And I regret both of them
yeah.
in the same way because I'm getting to a point in my life where I do not have time for
yeah, yeah,
scrolling and wasting valuable seconds that I could be doing other things and being productive in my life, for my family, for myself, for my career. And I look at it very negatively as I'm walking away from it. It's very similar to I said this to a coworker of mine who has gone on his own, just recently, and he texted me the other day, and he was like, "Dude, I haven't smoked a cigarette all day," and I was like, I told you this job would make you quit," and he laughed, and I was like, but I thinking about that too,
Yeah.
you want to be more productive. You're trying your hardest to be the best version of yourself. And I honestly think these things are around. Not everybody will get dragged down by that,
Right. Right.
but some people will.
Will.
And I think that's what I have the problem with it. And it doesn't drag me down. I can put it down. I'm not like, oh God, I just woke up. What's on TikTok? What's on Instagram? Like, I don't wake up that way. I never have and
Yeah.
probably never will.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
if you're
I find myself even now. Yeah, I even found myself even now, Johnny. Sometimes, even though I have the Facebook notifications turned off, there's still that instinct to go
Yeah.
in and try and check what's actually happening. And that's the biggest challenge that I have now with social media is really just to, okay, let me just put this away. And maybe the option is for me to just delete it off the phone. That's
Yep.
the next
That's what
challenge
I
for
did.
me is just get rid of it. Yeah.
That's what I've done. I have like I said, I have Instagram on the phone, but my youngest son just deleted his Instagram account. So I think now I text him. So now I think I'm just gonna I text anybody, and I don't really need. Me and my wife share cat videos and monkey videos constantly back and forth.
Yeah.
That's literally what Instagram is for me and my
Yeah.
wife. It's,
Yeah.
hey, look at this kitty cat. Look at this monkey. Look at this
Yeah.
kitty cat. Look at this monkey. Hey, I found an alligator. Like that is literally what Instagram is for me right now.
Exactly.
And 19 out of 20 posts, if I go on Instagram Reels, it's cat, alligator, cat, alligator, monkey. Like,
Yeah.
so, and maybe
Yeah.
some news every once in a while. But that's because we've trained that way. So that's still on my phone, but we are growing. Me and my wife are growing so far away from social media and our phones.
Yeah.
We've noticed this with me being on the road. We talk on the phone way more than we used to because we used to use Instagram as a crutch or Facebook
Yeah.
Messenger as a crutch, and you could post something on there. No, now we have real conversations, and our relationship is growing.
Yeah. See, that's the difference. That's a huge, huge important. I'm glad you said that because you're right. I mean, to get away, and I think part of this is we have to also like kind of think about what like also Stephen kind of mentioned last week with the younger
Mhm.
generation. They text
Yes.
a lot. They that kind
Yep.
of stuff, and that's their form of communication. And in some ways, I do agree with it. But there are the biggest thing really is making sure that you have that face-to-face conversation or you're talking with FaceTime or whatever. At least it's a face-to-face conversation. The idea that I remember there was one person I think that even one of my friends posted, and it was a really good post. It was basically the same sentence 7 different times, and every single sentence had a different word emphasis. So it was the same sentence written out
That's
7
genius.
times, but
That's
every
awesome.
single one was like,
Mhm.
and it was all read differently. And it's like, you cannot, I don't care who you are, I don't care how young you are, old you are, you cannot interpret it on a text.
Nope.
You just
You
can't.
cannot assume. You cannot assume. It makes an ass out of me and you.
Yeah.
It's one of the oldest phrases ever.
That's
you can't
why
assume when someone sends a text. I'll tell you a story that it took me a while.
Yep.
So I dated this girl years ago. I think I've told you this story before. When she was mad, she would type singular word responses.
Oh,
It still infuriates me today when
yeah.
someone, like, if I put a thoughtful text out and I get a one-word answer,
Yeah.
something in me shakes because trauma is real. You know
Something
what I
triggered
mean?
you.
Like, it's trauma is real. It's not a fake thing that we made up. Like, trauma is
Yeah.
actually real. So,
Yeah, exactly.
but it's not, but not taking care of your trauma is you yell at the person that had nothing to do with it. That's
Do with
not
it. Right.
how that
Right.
works. But if you shudder a little, but that's something I think came from social media.
Yeah.
Because if you're reading text all the time, you're only interpreting text with your feelings.
Yes. It's
And
not
if
the
you have a
intention.
shitty life and you feel like you're a shitty person,
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
gonna read everything in that. Like, if I read it, I'm happy pretty much all the time.
Oh, yeah.
So if I read a text, if Matt just puts a text on Facebook saying, like, "Hey, I'm having a great day hanging out with my family," I'm not reading it like, "Oh fuck, I'm missing my family. This sucks." But someone could be reading it that way. I'm reading it, well, "Oh shit, Matt's with his parents. That's awesome.
Yeah.
He's enjoying his time. Moving
Yeah.
on." You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
if you're not, it's where you're at is how you're gonna read it.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So it's really a two-pronged approach as we're kind of looking at this thing, right? You're looking at one side of it where it can be really dark and sinister in terms of like the images that are being shown. And then the other side is you don't know the other person's thoughts and feelings fully by reading whatever they're posting. So it's
Yes.
really just having, I guess our main thing is one, get off of it.
It's going away.
It's got to go away eventually, I would hope. But I mean, that's really the biggest thing for me is
Or change.
or changing. Yeah.
I
and
would
then
like
also
to see it change a little bit.
you could also say it with the influencers too. I think the influencers that are like dominating it, that I find that so troubling because it's literally like they are just recording everything on
Yeah.
social media, everything. And they're getting paid by,
Yeah.
how many, couple thousands of dollars for doing all this stuff on a monthly basis. And it's like, that's not a life to me. That's just not a life. You're making
That's
other people miserable, yourself miserable, inside, even though you may think you're having fun. I don't think you really are. So, I mean, it's one of those things where you just have to kind of just take a step back and just enjoy the, enjoy the forest and the trees more than anything
Yeah.
else. Try and just get out and just do something, more than anything else. I don't know if you have any final thoughts on that one, Johnny, but
personally, I can't speak for everybody else, but personally, 2025, I feel, especially with social media, I hope that I don't even talk about social media in 2025 because I have so many plans right now. Adventure, getting together with friends, doing a couple things that I've always wanted to do. I really hope, like, when we talk about social media, I'm almost clueless in a year, and I've kind of put that out in the universe. Like, I really have taken a step in that direction, and I hope that a lot of people do it. And this debate that we were talking about before shows you the reason you don't need to be on social media, because all they did is beat you over the head with it
yeah,
for an entire. If you don't watch TV, good. They put it on TikTok. They put it on Instagram. They put it on Facebook. They put it all over the place. They put it on Twitter so that you could see it because you didn't watch it, because the ratings were terrible.
yeah.
And nobody wants to watch two old men argue over a donut. It's not
Or their golf
doesn't
game
help
or whatever.
anything. Yeah, the fact that bring that up, like,
Yeah.
I want
Oh,
to play
gosh.
Trump in golf. I'd whoop his ass. A far better athlete than that donut eating motherfucker.
Yeah, and especially the other senile old
He
guy on the
probably
other
is good
side.
though. I mean, he
Well,
did win a golf championship.
If it's
That's kinda
miniature
hard to
golf,
do.
maybe, but. Well, here we go, Johnny. Without
did it.
Steve to introduce us, what the heck? I don't
Yeah.
know. What's
Well,
happening?
All right, we don't plug our website yet.
Not yet. He always has something funny.
Yeah,
to
I don't
say.
know. I don't know what did.
Yeah,
I don't know what to do. I'm lost without him. I don't know. Hey, check out some of our shorts on YouTube because
Oh, there you go.
I'm tired of
Yeah.
seeing like 30 views. Like, share it with your friends or something.
Yeah, go out there, do it.
We're funny, at least. Like, you
Yeah.
might not agree with us, but at least we're funny about it.
Exactly.
And normally we just pick on douchebags anyway. We bully bullies. That's what we do.
Yeah, exactly right. We do that just because we love to have fun. That's the whole point of this podcast, is just to have fun, for sure. So why don't we just dive into topic 2 then?
Okay.
So we're going to have some fun here with the
I'm too
food
old.
industry.
I'm too old to jump, so I'm
Yeah,
just gonna
me
stay
too.
seated.
Me too. Yeah, I'm comfortable in this chair, man. This chair,
Yeah, that's a new chair.
life.
Beautiful.
I love this chair.
Beautiful.
It is. It's beautiful. I absolutely love
I hate this chair because yesterday I was sitting in it and my leg went numb. And I was very panicking because my entire leg went numb. And I was like, I need to take my fat ass for a walk.
Oh
Like,
my
what is going
gosh.
on here?
What is
Like,
going on here? Oh my gosh.
Not
All right,
not
Johnny.
Okay.
Well, let's dive into topic 2 while we're
Yes.
at it here. Food and Drug Administration, our friends at the FDA, put out a warning to Sara Lee and Entenmann's, the maker of Sara Lee and Entenmann's, I should say, not to claim foods containing allergens when they don't. Interesting. Federal food safety regulators said on Tuesday, I'm guessing of this week, that they have warned a
hoping.
top U.S. bakery to stop using labels they say its products could contain potentially dangerous allergens when they don't. U.S. Food and Drug Administration inspectors found that Bimbo, not Bimbo, Bimbo Bakeries USA,
Yes. No one well.
which includes brands such as Sara Lee, Orwheat, Thomas's, Entenmann's, and Ballpark Buns and Rolls for you hot dog lovers out there, listed ingredients such as sesame or tree nuts on labels even when they weren't in the foods.
Yes.
Under FDA regulations, such products are misbranded, FDA officials said in a warning letter sent to officials at the company's Horsham, Pennsylvania HQ earlier this month. According to the FDA officials, quote,
Food labels must be truthful and not misleading.
the warning follows the inspections late last year at Bimbo plants in Phoenix, Arizona, and Topeka, Kansas that make Sara Lee and brownberry breads. Say that 3 times fast. FDA officials indicated that allergen labeling is not a substitute for preventing cross-contamination in factories. And then we have advocates for the nonprofit group FAIR. That's the Food Allergy Research and Education.
That's
Said
just
such labeling does a
stupid.
disservice to the estimated 33 million people in the U.S. with food allergies. I'm
doesn't.
going to continue to go on there, but Johnny, your
Yes.
thoughts on the FDA actually stepping up?
Even though they are really annoying.
Yes.
I mean, what do you
Yes, they-
think? What-
Yes, they
what do you
are.
Think
but
of all that.
This is something when I forget even who sent the article, but this is something I've been pondering for years with food packaging, because somewhere in the mid 2000s, everything contained peanuts. Like, and you couldn't get away, you could get away from it. Like yeah, like what? Like, it could contain peanuts, or my favorite one, distributed out of a factory that may have
Yeah.
whatever bullshit they were putting
Yeah.
out. Like,
Way
I
to
think-
limit your consumer base, for God's
Yes,
sakes. One thing.
this is really good, because this is just the start, because they put shit on the label that should never be there.
yeah.
And maybe this is the big step to, regulating to where we only have 4 things on the package. So, like, it
Yeah.
only contains X, Y, and Z. It's not this over here, or it's not the whole George Carlin thing using the buzzwords to get
Yeah.
the food sale.
To get the food. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
to get the food sale. Home style instead of homemade. Home
Yeah.
style sounds more expensive.
Yeah. Yeah. I, unfortunately, for me, I have a seafood diet. Whenever I see it, I eat it. I
Yeah.
don't have any allergies. The only one that I could probably maybe complain about would be spicy food. I guess that would be an allergic reaction. People know me that love spice, love to serve me spicy food, love to laugh because I sweat profusely. I just do.
I don't think that's an allergic reaction. I just think that's hot stuff that
Yeah,
happens.
it is. That's true. Yeah, I guess that's the way the Lord made me. That's the way I'm going to put it. Or
Yes.
the way God made me. But I mean, that being said, I hate to give credit to the administrative state, Johnny, but I mean, for
He
crying out
does it.
loud,
They did a good job, I think.
I mean, talk about stepping up, right?
When you stop confusing people, people can make better decisions for themselves. And that's all I think
important.
this is. I think all I think this is.
100%.
They're saying, stop it with your nonsense. You're not evading any federal regulation by just slapping peanuts on everything. That's
Yeah.
what they're saying in the article, and I'm okay with that. I'm
Yeah.
okay with I should be known pretty well in this podcast. I'm okay when the government does what they're supposed to do. I'm okay with that.
Yes,
There
I
are
am
dumb
too.
people in this world. So if the government needs to put a warning sign, not to eat the can of cola after you drink it, I'm fine with that. I'm not okay with you banning Coca-Cola and making me drink acid because you want to lessen the population.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a fine line there.
There's a fine line there. That's right. I don't know, Johnny. I mean, I'm with you. I'm totally with you. Unfortunately, I have lived 47 years of my life.
There you
And
go.
about 40 years of those lives, 40 years of that life has been filled with nothing but lies and deception from the federal
Yes.
government. So,
Oh, yeah,
I mean,
yeah, they're good
I
at
get it. I get it. I understand it. And a
They're
little
good
bit,
at it.
but yeah, I think, it is really, really important, obviously. And I mean, this nonprofit group, this advocate basically, really had a great quote on here. Our community relies on accurate product labeling for their health and safety. Sung Poblet
Can't argue
said.
that.
Can't argue that quote.
Can't
These
argue
findings about Bimbo Bakery's products undermine their trust and further limit their choices. I completely agree. I mean, if there's anything that I've learned when it comes to marketing, branding is so important. And if you screw up, man alive, is it difficult to try and win that customer base back.
Yeah.
It really is. No, it is really tough. And because you got to be able to prove again to your consumer base, no, we don't have sesames in our products. No, we don't have, peanuts mixed in and all that kind of stuff. Or we don't have walnuts in this flavored bread or whatever the case may be. You make sure that what you package is exactly what you're packaging. You don't guesstimate as to whether or not one part of your bakery over here sort of has sesame. Oh, we've got to make sure that it's in there. No, if it's coming from that distribution, if it's coming from that bakery, and you know that there's sesame seed in that,
That's
in
the
that-
reason it should
essentially
go
that
on the
recipe,
label, yeah.
put it on the damn label, right? I mean, that's really what it comes down to.
But don't broadly scope every label.
Right. Don't just slap a warning sticker and say this may
that's what they
contain
were.
it.
That's what they were doing. They were probably saving a ton of money on packaging. Well,
Yeah.
that's obviously that's illegal. So
Yeah. Well, and the thing of it too, we were talking about this on a distribution level, and we were kind of just talking about this in
Again?
pre-production. There, Bimbo was basically saying, well, we're not really sure because we got a distribution center over here, we got a distribution center over there, and it could be in the West Coast, East Coast, central of the country. We don't know where these things are going. And I can understand that because it's like the cost to ship is a ton of money for any organization.
Absolutely.
I don't care who you are. So if you have multiple distribution centers all across the country, that limits your cost. So you basically are able to ship or whatever. But here's the thing. You got to know what's in your distribution. You got to know what's in your bakeries too. And if you don't put that and you just broadly slap a sticker that isn't true, you're going to get nailed for it. I don't care who you are.
yeah, totally.
That kind of
I
deal.
do need to. I need to debunk though. Having distribution centers everywhere doesn't fix anything because Amazon is terrible.
Yes.
Just tell you a quick thing. A guy from work sent me something when I was in San Angelo, Texas.
Oh, no.
Do you want to know what distribution center it shipped from?
I'm going to say Denver, Colorado.
Nope. The one right next to my house.
Well, why
They
not?
ordered
right?
it in Philly. It shipped from Texas right next to where I live. I can see the Amazon plant on my balcony. I can see it. And they shipped it to me, who was 4 hours away.
Oh, goodness.
They don't funny story. They
Yeah.
don't have one in San Angelo, but they have one in San Antonio that's closer to San Angelo. They could have shipped it right from there.
See?
No, they
No.
just pick and choose.
They pick and choose.
They pick and choose. They don't care.
Exactly. So let me get this straight, John.
Yes.
Steve goes on vacation and you have a
Mhm.
faster upload.
Yeah.
I mean, this is unbelievable.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
I don't know what's going on there.
I don't know what's going on. Either
And
this
if you wa- Go ahead.
hotel has the best Wi-Fi in the history of hotels, or Steve's
Or-
scraping my style. I don't know.
yeah, or Steve's
No,
cramping
we'll
your
figure it
style. Who knows? Yeah, we'll try to figure that out. Speaking of cramping our style.
Still miss you though.
No, yeah,
Wow.
I hope you're having fun down the Jersey Shore. Absolutely. But speaking of fast downloads, how about you check out our website? That's 2noobstalking.wordpress.com. You could go there check out all of the episodes going all the way back to episode 140. Can you believe we have an archive going all the way back to episode 140?
Yep.
And then if you want to go further back, there's I think a link that gives us to our YouTube channel.
Yep, right to the YouTube channel, and that'll take you all the way back to episode 1. They talked about Joe Biden being a liar, just in case you want to tell me I'm not
didn't he say
consistent.
he was telling the truth now?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. God, that's right. Episode what we were
I've
Joe
just been consistent the whole time, so I'm not. You're not gonna find not consistency by me. Just
Johnny,
saying.
It just hit me that we just started with Joe Biden back in October of 2020. We launched the podcast. Good Lord Almighty! Oh my gosh!
Yeah. Well,
Holy cow!
you know.
But yeah, check us out. Of course, you can find more about us. About your favorite Two Noobs hosts as well. Little bios about us and other things. And of course, if you fill in your email address, we won't send you any marketing information. We promise that. We're not one of those
We don't have
shills
anything
out
to
there.
sell. Yeah, we don't have anything to
We
sell.
don't have anything to sell to you. But the only thing we will kind of sell to you is basically a notification to let you know that when a new episode drops,
Yeah.
which you can check out Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern
Yes.
on YouTube. So,
And if you're audio people,
yeah.
you can put your RSS feed in and listen to on whatever dumb podcasting thing that you do.
I
Google
personally prefer Apple.
Google Podcast is dying, so don't listen to us on that because that's going away.
YouTube Music, I think, is another one that we've got in there.
YouTube Music, that's probably the coolest thing going now. I like, we're on Amazon and all the other stupid ones that are probably going to go away anyway. So just RSS feed is the best thing to do because you have these simple, basic ones that are on your phone. Just stick it in there and you can listen to it. It'll be fine. Don't worry.
It'll be fine. Yep. Just close your eyes before you do it. That kind of a deal. Just hold on for
and
dear
if you
life.
don't, we don't care. So, okay.
It may be
We'll hold
annoying,
it-
but
Yes, we won't hold it against you.
Exactly. All right, with all that out,
All
of the
this
way,
pressure
Johnny
on the
topic
internet, I
3.
can't stand it.
I know exactly, right?
Follow me,
It's
like
crazy.
me, like me. No, I don't care. If you don't like me, yell at me. I don't care. That's shit I gotta
speaking
do.
of yelling at things. Speaking of yelling at things, Johnny, I think we've got a little buyer's remorse going on here.
Yes. This is
was
crazy.
hilarious, right? This week, more than 40% of U.S. electric vehicle buyers want to go back to the good old combustion engine car, according to a McKinsey study. More than 4 in 10 owners of electric vehicles in the U.S. are likely to buy a combustion engine car for their next purchase. That's the takeaway of a global McKinsey and Company consumer survey that, among other findings, concluded that charging concerns, shock, are hindering the transitions to electric vehicles. 29% of EV owners across the globe said they're likely to reverse course. In the U.S., 46%. Their top concern? Inadequacy of the public charging infrastructure. They also cited concerns with high costs of ownership and detrimental impact to long-distance trips. According to the leader of the consulting firm's Center for Future Mobility, so that's CIFRM, Philip Kamshoff said, quote,
I didn't expect that. I thought once an EV buyer, always an EV buyer.
So there you go, Johnny.
Once an idiot, always an idiot, because that's
Once an idiot, always an idiot. That's right. 40%, John, want to ditch it, basically.
I'm shocked. I'm shocked at that. I thought it would be 20%.
You really?
Like, because I thought it would be like he said. Yes, once an EV owner, people have their narcissistic tendencies where they don't, they don't like the switch. They like their logo. They like their thing. BMW owners are BMW owners.
I'm a Honda guy. I've always been a Honda
exactly.
guy.
Yeah, exactly. I'm a
I'm
Toyota
narcissist that
guy.
way.
I will
Lex
always
Luger.
be a Toyota guy. It's just the way. It's just the way it is. Like, so I thought it would be 20% of people like, this is too hard. I don't want to play this game.
Yeah.
But 40 is
out. I mean,
and trust me, with the lack of leadership up top,
Uh-huh.
it isn't gonna get any easier to charge your EV.
It is not. You're exactly right.
So
Spot
that
on.
number could get even bigger. I don't like Sean Hannity, but Sean Hannity says one thing about EV vehicles that I completely agree with. He loves EV vehicles. He thinks that a part of the population should drive EV vehicles.
Okay.
The only thing he disagrees with EV vehicles is nobody should tell you need to put one in your driveway.
Yeah.
That's the only thing he disagrees with EV vehicles.
He's
You
exactly right.
shouldn't tell people to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, he's probably the biggest ass kisser of Donald Trump
Mhm.
we've ever seen.
Oh, totally.
But that
But
being
he had
said,
that one point. I totally agree with him.
exactly.
Nobody should be told what to do, and I feel that 20% that I'm missing of the 40% that's at 44, so 24% I was missing because I thought it would be 20%.
Yeah.
That 24% probably felt bullied into it, and that's something I would love to see another poll
Yeah.
on the bullying that this administration state has done
Yeah.
to get people in these things.
Especially in California.
Yes.
I mean, going on a little bit further in the article, the consumer sentiments may go hand in hand with the slow rollout of a U.S.-backed charging network. Only
Yes.
8 stations are operational following the creation of the National Electric Vehicle Infrastructure Program, or NEVIP program, Johnny. That was launched 2 years ago. 8 stations. So that's what? 4 stations every year, or 1 station a quarter. And you have all of this being rolled out, all of these electric vehicles being rolled out, and you only have 8 electric stations right now being charged.
You should see the Tesla facility in Texas that
Yeah.
Elon Musk built. There are more Cybertrucks and regular Tesla cars just sitting around.
Yeah.
The employee cars are the gasoline cars, which cracks me up. Anyway, like, if you look at the parking lot with all the gasoline cars, that's all the employees that came to work. 'Cause
Yeah.
they can't afford them either.
No.
But
By
they're just
yeah,
sitting around.
by the way, the Tesla Cybertruck being recalled for a 4th time was also in this findings. So, I mean, it's almost like this entire electric vehicle, and I mean, we've been riffing on this for the last 6 months of this
Yes.
podcast, not because we're targeting them for the hell of it. We're finding all of these articles because it's literally like 1 step forward, 5 steps back with this part of the industry. And the fact that it's being crammed down certain states' throats, not all, but certain states in this union, is a disaster. It is an absolute disaster. And you cannot try and force something. It has to be,
But Matt,
has to be grown from the,
the funny part is just go back to COVID and take 1 step back to COVID.
Yeah.
What states are forcing
Yeah.
EV ownership? What states were forcing COVID vaccines? What states were forcing you not to go to work? What
Yeah.
they can't
point.
get enough of themselves.
Yeah.
They'll keep doing this. This is the time to step up with an election around the corner. This is the time to step up because they're not changing.
Yeah.
This is what you're going to get, and you're going to
Yeah.
see more backlash. I bet you if we get the same administration, we get the same BS all over again in the next 4 years, I bet you that goes from 44
Yeah.
or 40, whatever. I think it was 44.
40, yep.
44 to 64.
Yeah.
These people, the people that actually are paying the money for these things and these government mandates are going to push back.
Oh, yeah.
And they're going to
question
push
about
back
it.
harder the next time.
Yeah, no question about it. And I think it's really telling. I mean, there was a little bit later in the article, they were talking a little bit about, the visibility is horrible for these electric, stations to charge your car. And I'm thinking to myself, maybe that is true, but at the same point, where are you going to put it?
There.
You know what I mean? Like, where exactly are you going to put? Like, if you're going to put it next to a gas station, I'm not so sure I would really want that to happen. You know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't want to mix gas with electrical fire. That doesn't sound.
But people that build gas stations are smart, and they keep They
Yeah.
keep them as safe as humanly possible.
Yeah.
And people that build the EV stations, I do know a ton of those guys. They are very it's not the lowest level. You're not getting like your cousin Sam over there. He's not coming in to run your electrical line.
Sure.
They know what they're doing. They understand how to keep them apart.
Yep.
It's just if the consumers don't want them, they're gonna stop building.
Yeah. And that's another thing too. I think there is a future with I want to make it very clear on this podcast. I think there is a future for electric.
Yeah.
But again, the fact that it's this demand is artificial. It is being shoved.
Yes.
When it really should be a groundswell. That was my original point. Really should be a groundswell of this. Hey, I want this. Hey, this is really cool. You see it with the hybrid. People love the fact that they want a hybrid vehicle where it's like you're saving more gas in your car.
And you saw it in the beginning of Tesla.
Yes.
Yes. And
now it's being like shoved down your throats. $5 billion is being wasted on this on our own economy because of this. And the best we've got is 8 stations across the country that can charge an electric vehicle. Huh?
I mean, there are charging stations all across Texas.
Yeah.
But my issue with that, and I've talked to EV owners, because when you go, driving across Texas or whatever, you stop at a truck stop or whatever.
Yep.
I've asked people. I'm like, what is this really worth it? And half of them are like, you know what? I've been here for 30 minutes. Probably not.
Yeah.
Like, it's probably, and it costs me more money than gasoline, and gasoline is up right now.
Yeah.
Don't worry, it'll come down, because Democrats love when it comes down right before election.
Well, yeah.
Just look out for that. It's coming.
Yeah, it's coming.
It's coming.
Yeah.
It's coming.
Exactly.
It happens every time. Like clockwork. That was a wrestling reference. Tell me if you got it.
We're totally not ready? Seriously? Okay.
Didn't you get what that
We're
one?
live, pal.
That was Santina. Remember Santino when
Yeah.
Kane delivered it? I wasn't ready.
That's right.
It's one of the greatest wrestling lines ever.
Well, yeah, I guess we'll just launch right into the topic to close out episode 196, Johnny. You're probably the more huge wrestling fan than I am. I'm more of the closet size, but I've followed both WWE, AEW, and all that kind of stuff. Why don't we just riff on wrestling?
Matt knows wrestling. Don't let him.
I know a little bit about it here and there. I follow it.
He knows what he's talking about.
Here and there. It seems to be a wrestling boom though right now. Both companies doing pretty well, I would say. But yeah, why don't we just riff, man? Like, tell me what's on your mind. What do you want to talk about in regards to wrestling?
So
let's do it.
So this is why I came up with. I came up with this because I was joking with Matt for week after week after week, because I would, right before pre-production, I would put on AEW wrestling. It was just funny to me over and over again. Every time I would see Matt, I would be like, Matt, why are there 8-man tags? Like every time. I am an avid.
I still don't know, John. I don't know.
I still don't know the answer. I didn't watch this week, but I'm still assuming there was an 8-man tag, so we'll just leave that.
Yeah,
I am a religious watcher. I do watch Raw, not the third hour. I normally catch that on the internet because I go to bed early.
Yep.
And I do watch SmackDown. I'm not a big NXT guy, but I do watch their pay-per-views. And I try to watch AEW. I will not pay that money for AEW pay-per-views.
How much is it? Like $70, I think?
Yes.
For
And I don't think they're any good.
Whoa.
They're not going to be life-changing to me. I watch all the videos afterwards, so I follow up on it.
You get an idea.
It's not worth that kind of money.
Right.
And the only reason, if WWE was charging that amount of money, they wouldn't get my business either. So it's not an AEW thing.
You were saying.
You just wouldn't get my business. I have Peacock, so I have WWE pay-per-views. So that's why I watch WWE pay-per-views, and I enjoy them. I enjoy them. Now that Vince is gone, I really enjoy them. I really enjoy wrestling now that Vince is gone. Greatest gift I could ever get in this world is Vince McMahon not being in charge of any type of wrestling. And it's amazing to me. And I know our buddy Tom probably feels the same way.
Oh, yeah. He
he hated Vince just as much as I did for probably even longer than I hated him, because I just tolerated him because he was there.
Well, the change that WWE has undergone ever since he left, like
Yes.
full-time out.
Yeah,
My
the
God.
scumbag left the building. Yeah,
The scumbag left the building, and wow, is it just so much different now. From the production to the storylines. I mean, the long story that they're going with the bloodline right now is ridiculous. And
Well, and
everybody's,
he-
of course, talking like in the wrestling world. I guess at the time of this recording, Paul Heyman taking a huge bump.
oh yeah,
58-year-old, I mean, taking a bump
yeah.
off the table.
Good job, Paul.
I mean, yeah. I mean, you just know that Roman's going to come back big.
He's
With that,
he's the biggest babyface in the company, and he hasn't even been on
hasn't
TV.
even shown up yet.
Genius.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
genius.
it's
He's
genius.
overtaken Cody as the top babyface, and he hasn't even been on TV.
Yeah, exactly.
That is, but you know why? You know why WWE is good? Because they listen to smart people.
Yeah,
And this is something I've heard a couple people, just a little AEW, WWE. I've heard from guys that used to be in AEW say that Tony Khan really doesn't. He's making the same mistakes Vince did.
just putting on the
And that-
matches.
It's putting
Yeah.
on the matches, and you're only listening to one guy. It seems to me, not that I agree with any of these guys. I don't think Bruce Pritchard is that much of a genius, but Bruce Pritchard will tell you how much of a genius he is.
GC is. Yeah.
I think Triple H, Paul Levesque listens to talent. That's why they're on fire right now, and that's why they look good. And he tries to get everybody TV time, and he's not worried about stars. He's worrying about storylines and
Now,
everybody getting their stuff in, because he's got a lot of time to do it. Also, similar to AW has a lot of time. That's kind of where that joke came of, why is there always
8-man tags all over the place.
8-man
yeah.
tags all the time?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
Teddy Long made it famous, but like, does
Yeah.
Tony Khan just do it for funsies?
Yeah, I guess so.
Maybe he's just ribbing me. That would be awesome. I would love that.
And that's the thing. It's like, I look at AEW. Okay, let's talk about that real quick.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a
yeah.
hell of a product.
Very much so. Yeah,
TV
totally different.
wise, look
Yep.
wise, good,
Athletic,
present it very well.
very
Like,
well.
Don't let me act like I'm not an AEW fan.
No, yeah, I completely agree. I was always impressed, and particularly like looking back a couple of years, especially during the pandemic era, the way they handled themselves during, when they had with the Brody Lee thing, right? When we had Brody pass, and the way they handled that, and they just elevated the entire like wrestling world, the way they handled that entire
Absolutely.
situation there. But then, like, they are currently going through some very, very difficult times. You know how much of a Mark Kenny Omega, I'm a big fan
Oh,
of
yeah,
Kenny
absolutely.
Omega. Love
Absolutely.
that guy.
Absolutely.
I think the world of him. I think he's probably the best wrestler I've ever seen since Shawn Michaels.
He's good. He's good.
He's really good at what he does. The Young Bucks, I want to believe in what they're trying to do with their EVP storyline right now.
I think they're doing.
But I think the problem is they have so much heat from the wrestling community.
they're doing a really good job. It's just, it's a
It's
burned out
cringe-
storyline to me.
But is it cringeworthy? Like, I don't
Yes.
know what they're, that's what I think it is.
I think that's what they're trying to do.
I guess
they're-
that would be it.
I
yeah.
really think that I think they're doing a good job.
Yeah.
Here's my problem. I'm just not interested in that storyline.
But here's the thing. Who is going to step up and knock them basically,
Yeah.
right? Hit them upside the head. And guys say, like, you guys are ridiculous. What are you doing? I don't see an end goal there. I see
'Cause-
like
'cause
just
they
annoying
haven't-
people right now.
Because they haven't created stars.
Yeah.
If you really look at their stars, Moxley and Danielson and Claudio
Claudio
Castagnoli
Castagnoli. Mhm.
are stars. You know why they were stars? Because they spent years and years on WWE TV.
Yeah.
They're just stars because, oh, hey, I know him. Hey, I know him. I don't think they've built. Jericho's another one. Jericho's a great talent. At 50 years old, he's still a good talent. But
Yeah.
why is he a talent? Why is he a main event
Well,
guy?
he's done
'Cause
it all.
He's
done
did it
it
in
all, Johnny.
every federation. Like,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no.
I
man.
just
Now,
don't
I mean,
think.
that's another sidebar, which I definitely want to hit with you in regards to
Mhm.
Jericho. But go on, what you
Oh,
were
yeah.
saying about with the Young Bucks.
I
Go ahead.
just don't think. I just don't think they know or care about building stars.
Yeah, I would.
I
would
just
tend to
don't. I
agree.
just don't think they do. If they want to put on, and I'm okay if AEW wants to be the wrestling show, and we watch good matches and we don't have good storylines, I'm okay with that.
Yeah,
But I'm not going to look at it the same.
yeah. It's how they're going to grow, though, as an organization. You want to see growth, obviously. Long term, what's your North Star? Well, you want to continue to grow. And you're not WWE right now. There's just no way. You're just not. You don't have the finances,
And
the
do we
resources,
really?
whatever.
What do we really want it to be though?
I don't think so.
I want.
I mean,
I want it to. I want it to grow in a different way. I want it to be. I was a big fan of ROH.
Yeah, Ring of Honor. Yeah,
In the after Punk era, when Punk left to go to WWE, ROH
Yep.
was kind of where it hit with me. I want something like that is televised where you can watch it because that's an alternative to the other thing.
yeah.
I would like to see them be more of an alternative. I just don't think they know how. But you're owned by someone that does not know how to write TV or
Yeah.
book wrestling. He just owns the company because his dad's rich.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
And he was-
extreme. It's extremely similar to if Shane McMahon were to take over. I would say the exact same thing.
Here's the thing, though. When he first started, though, he did a great job with Hangman Page.
Yeah,
He
but
really did.
But he also had Cody, who
Yes, that helped. Yes,
follow Cody Rhodes through his progression of a 21-year-old kid to where he is now.
no, yeah,
You find success everywhere the kid goes. He works harder than everybody else. I'm
Yeah.
not saying he's the end all, but just look at
but having that voice,
just look at that work ethic and look who his father was.
yeah, exactly.
Then you have a guy like Chris Jericho. Then you have a guy like the Young Bucks. Then you have a guy like Jon Moxley,
Yep,
who is a genius.
yeah, yeah,
He's
Exactly.
an utter genius. Daniel Bryanson, another
yeah.
genius of
Yeah.
professional wrestler.
And you wonder about if he's going to ever, he's going to walk away. Is he done? Does he stay at the company to help out the backstage area? Who knows? But I really want to get with Jericho because
Yeah.
everything I'm following, people hate him. And
Yeah, well,
I don't.
he's old and it's over.
Yeah,
But when you go,
that
when
doesn't
you okay,
sound good,
okay.
Johnny.
But this is why Chris Jericho is great. Okay,
Yeah,
and
Yeah.
I'll tell you, the list is when I figured it out. When he started
yeah.
putting people in the audience on the list, and then he brought it in the wrestlers, and then he
Yeah.
had Kevin Owens with him, and Kevin Owens like freaked out, or when he put Xavier Woods on it, and Xavier Woods melted down on the stage. That's what pro wrestling is. If you don't
Yeah.
like that, don't watch it. Like when Xavier Woods just go, no, don't put me on the list, and oh man, you put me on the list like that. That's pro wrestling, right?
that is pro wrestling.
He's
Yeah.
a genius. So
Yeah.
I give him credit. The Jericho Appreciation Society was some of the best work he ever did. He had a bunch of ass kissers running around,
Okay.
just kissing his ass
Yeah.
and wrestling all the matches for him.
For him.
It
Exactly.
was genius. And now his new one, it's hilarious.
Yeah, it's a
not going to
takeoff
get
of
me
it.
to. It's not
Yeah.
going to get me to watch it, but I respect it. Like he literally is having Mr. Roger moments where he explains what you're doing wrong. It's genius.
One step on the turnbuckle, then another step on the turnbuckle. Then
But
another
here's
step.
the thing. Jericho has never been liked in the moment. Jericho's
Yeah.
always been liked after the moment. And that's
Yeah.
I'm okay with Jericho. To people who like, I don't like Jericho, I get it. He's 50.
Yeah.
He is not in shape. He
No.
can barely do it anymore.
Yeah. You just wonder how long that's going to last. Another couple of years, maybe.
Oh
Maybe.
God, I
don't
hope
know.
not.
I can't.
Just go.
I don't
away.
know, Johnny. I mean, you know how long they go. I mean, Ric Flair wrestled till he was in his 70s, for God's sake. So people didn't want to see him anymore. And, at that
Oh
point.
God,
but,
and I watched that match, and geez, I don't.
I don't know why. Do you want
I
those
feel-
minutes back? Good
To
Lord.
To be honest with you, I feel like Adam Copeland is becoming that.
Oh,
And he
he's your
always said
boy.
that he didn't want to become. He's one of my favorite. He's one of my
Yeah.
favorite wrestlers of all time. He really
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
Him and
Broken
Brian
foot,
Day.
I think,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Yes. No, knee.
Knee.
Because
That was
he
a knee
jumped off the
issue.
top of the. He jumped off the top of the cage, and I will say this: if Vince or Triple H was in charge, his old ass never would have jumped off that cage.
Yeah.
And that's something that I have an issue with AEW and younger wrestlers.
Yeah.
I
don't kill your younger wrestlers or your older ones either. But yeah, I hear what you're saying.
Don't let them do stuff
Yeah.
that they have no business doing.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
There needs to be someone in charge.
Yeah.
Bray Wyatt was one of the greatest minds of the business. But you wouldn't get anything out of him if you didn't have people to filter it out.
No.
Because it would have been, blah,
Yeah.
I want to do all this. Okay, well, that's great,
Yeah.
but you know how to write a book? Not everybody knows how to write a book. So you need someone that
No.
knows how to. Not everybody can tell a story. So just because you're an athlete doesn't mean you know how to
Yeah.
tell this story.
Yeah. Exactly. Good point. Well, what else do you want to talk about there, bud? Just to steal a line from Cody. How about WWE?
Exactly.
How about WWE right now?
They're on fire right now.
I mean, seriously. SmackDown.
I
I
never
didn't watch
thought
the whole episode, but I was watching the videos.
it was good.
Man.
It was definitely
Wow.
good. The fact
heat,
that
the
he
bloodline's
got
getting.
Roman, that Paul Heyman
That
got
Paul
Roman
Heyman.
over. Yeah, Paul Heyman's a genius, but just sitting here right now and thinking, as a wrestling fan, I don't like Roman Reigns at all.
Yeah.
His character, his work, I am not a fan of any of it.
Yeah.
I respect it because he got himself over big time.
Yeah. And he had
And I
a
respect
lot
you
of
if you
work
get
to do
yourself
in order to
over.
do that. No question.
Exactly. But
Yeah.
I didn't like the way the tribal chief was presented. I didn't like his acting ability. It seemed too back. Like I didn't let the Bloodline story was awesome in creation, and the Sami Zayn stuff was really good. But it was also because you're working with Sami Zayn. Sami
Yeah.
Zayn's one of the best in the business.
Yep.
So like I didn't. I'm not popping on Roman as much as I can, but somehow you got me. I can't wait to see him come back as a babyface. I
Yeah.
probably will shit all over him being a babyface, but the fact that you even have me interested in him coming back is
Yeah.
pretty impressive.
Very. Yeah. And
Because
then
I thought lose over. I don't ever need to see this dude again.
No.
But now I'm wondering who the fourth person's going to be at Survivor Series. So
Yeah.
you're winning. You're winning WWE because
Exactly. And that storyline going from the pandemic years, I mean, virtually 4 years long like that. I mean, very unusual for it to
It's
last.
literally it's an impossible storyline to write with Vince
it is.
McMahon with
Yeah.
Vince McMahon in charge.
Well, that was the thing. Like, McMahon was there in 2020 and 2021. And I mean, this is where I was thinking Triple H had to have been in his ear saying, stay with this.
Helping. Because that storyline was a storyline everybody always wanted. So you had
Yeah.
Roman and the Usos. That was always a storyline.
Oh, yeah.
And Vince always kept them away from each other.
Oh, yeah.
But there was no reason to. They literally, all three of them grew up together. Why wouldn't that be a good storyline?
Yeah.
And what Triple H and other people have done, including Paul Heyman, you literally took the Samoan dynasty and you paid homage to it in a way that
Yeah.
is beautiful.
That you're
Because
never going to see again. Yeah.
Solo Sikoa
Oh,
being the
that
head
guy.
of the table is
Yeah.
genius.
The amount of heat that guy has done just in the last 6 weeks.
Yes.
2 months, maybe.
And just so people don't know, Tama Tonga was one of the original members of the Bullet Club. So show some respect for a man that has been in 2 hot groups.
Yeah.
3 hot groups. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Because when he was in the other Bullet Club and then with Tangaloa being the tag team that they were, He's been hot for years. He just got
Johnny, what I loved about Paul Heyman, if we could go back to him real quick.
yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Heyman, the way he looked last night.
Just growing out of the beard,
Yeah.
disheveled.
Disheveled.
He's done
and
this a
and
few
he's
times.
crying, and he's like, you could tell he's welling up with tears and whatnot. I mean,
He's done
what
this.
a look that he pulled off.
He's done this a
last
few
night.
times.
Yeah.
When Roman disappeared for a couple weeks when they were doing another part of the bloodline,
Yep.
Paul Heyman started going gray.
Yeah.
So Paul Heyman understands the
So good.
importance of the wise man. The wise man is very, and that goes all the way back to Roman's father.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's very because he was the manager of the Wild Samoans, so
Sika.
he understands.
Yeah.
He understands the culture probably better than a lot of people.
Oh, for sure.
And he's
Yeah.
he's doing a phenomenal job. That's
Brilliant.
That's some good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Oh.
just crazy how fun it is to watch wrestling now. You have the Wyatt Six coming back, which we've
Yeah.
only seen. I followed the whole internet kind of thing that they were doing with the QR codes. I follow a guy from the UK who takes deep dives into it.
Yep.
So I'm a little bit more invested in it. I like what they did going outside of the TV shows.
Okay.
So I'm looking forward to that. I think that's really cool.
Yep.
I like what they're doing with the Judgment Day, what they're doing with Liv Morgan stealing everything from Rhea Ripley.
Yeah.
Because Rhea Ripley's going to beat her ass when she goes back. And I can't wait for the
Rhea might just go nuclear on everybody.
That's
in
what
that
I'm all.
entire group.
I hope she beats everybody up because they're all acting disrespectful. My God.
Exactly.
But that's what I mean. Like, there's so many good little nuggets to what's
And
going
that
on
Liv
right
Morgan, oh my goodness.
She's
Wow.
a talent, man. What
She
a
is
talent.
a talent and a half. Wow. And she was like floundering under Vince.
Yeah.
And wow, has Triple
Yeah.
H like done a great job with her. I mean, just completely the motivations for her are fantastic. You know, she's trying to steal everything from
It's genius.
I mean, you can't ask for
everything.
anything better than that. And I mean, to go after the dirtiest heel, like, I mean, and the guy that gets the loudest boos is hilarious to me. I just love that. He's like, every time Dominic speaks, you just hear
Everybody
nothing.
boo. Yeah. Yeah.
You just hear this.
Yeah. And then he tries to speak again. He is remarkable.
Yeah, he is really something else.
He's remarkable. He's one of the best talents.
Yeah.
And the fact they add just the Judgment Day, they added JD McDonough, and now they gave the tag team titles to Finn Balor and JD McDonough. JD McDonough is one of the best wrestlers on the planet.
yeah.
He is so good in the ring.
Yeah, very underrated guy.
So
Yeah.
good in the ring.
He
And
could take a bump like nobody.
oh,
I mean,
God, he's so good.
yeah.
And with the stuff he was doing in NXT I was like, why is this kid not wrestling in a major promotion right now? He's so good
Yeah.
at what he does.
Yeah.
And
Why don't we talk a little bit quickly on the women's side of things, the women's wrestling? I mean, what are your thoughts like on both promotions? Like, we can go to AEW. Toni Storm is doing a great job with her character.
Toni Storm's character is I think my favorite women's character right now. Jade Cargill is just so good and is going to be
Considering where she was, yeah.
she has just worked her ass off to just become a star. I'm of the era, my kids drug me into it. I was never a women's wrestling fan. But I had to take them to the first women's Royal Rumble because they wanted, they're far more progressive than I am. I found Bailey and was like, this is it. I just want to watch her wrestle. She's really good at it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't like women's wrestling as much as I probably should.
Part of that is Attitude Era, I think, for the two of us.
Yeah,
I mean,
it
was
turned me
really bad back then.
It turns me off to watch that because that's all Vince did. TNA is not.
Yeah.
Figure this out. I used to watch TNA, which had no TNA, but Vince had TNA all over the place. That's why I watched TNA, because I could watch women wrestle without being like, let me dance to the ring. I know. It's just not my thing.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, that's Attitude Era triggering right there.
I think with even TNA with the TNA knockout champ. I wish they would change that. Just the
Jordan
TNA
Grace.
Women's World Champ. Jordan
Yeah.
Grace. I wish they would just change that title name
Yeah.
to the TNA Women's Champion. If you're gonna have a women's wrestling, I beg
No.
promoters to stop with the bullshit of it's women's wrestling and
No.
it's men's wrestling. So figure it out. If you have to just make the titles the same and we get to figure out that, hey, it's a female that has the title, so that's the female championship and that's the male has the title. Let's do that. Let's
do
get
that.
these nonsensical names out.
Yeah.
Because Jordan
with
Grace is a star.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So, and she should be the champ of that.
Yeah.
And also, let's bring up just wrestling. Moose,
Oh.
and
Yeah.
his group,
The system.
man,
Yeah. The system.
Man,
Yeah.
they're on fire.
Yeah. They're trying. They're trying. Impact. They
they're-
keep going, man. They've rebranded back to the old TNA days.
Yeah,
I mean, they got Dolph Ziggler, Nick Nemeth, of course, there, and they got his brother Ryan. I mean, that,
yeah.
and I mean, that is the little engine that could. That engine just will not.
I've
die,
always been a
Johnny.
fan of that. During the AJ Samoa Joe
Yeah.
era, I was
Yeah.
always a fan of that. And the Joker Sting, of course, was not,
Oh, you've remarked how much you love Joker Sting, and I remember
it's one of my favorite.
yeah,
it's one of
where he
Sting's
went
be-
completely
yeah.
insane.
It was some of his best work he's ever
Yeah.
had.
Yeah, he might have stolen it off of Heath Ledger, but he
He
did
totally
a pretty
did, but
darn good job of it. He
good
really
work,
did.
good work out of him.
Yeah. I mean, he didn't have much to work with Hulk, but I mean, that's another story for another
Well,
time. I
yeah,
guess,
working
but-
with Hulk Hogan is. I mean, Hulk couldn't get me over. Um,
yeah, but well, wasn't going to work for you, brother. But yeah,
he's
I mean,
one
what
of the
else-
biggest waste of times. Let's not have him go
Oh.
anywhere.
Yeah. So I mean, we could talk about the Vice documentary, a little bit about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Vice doc. I mean, I was watching those episodes as well. That was pretty good. I'm not a big Eric Bischoff guy, although what he did was remarkable in 97, 98. I think he definitely took advantage. You think back then, we're teenagers, early 20s back then, right? When that was all happening. I can remember the NWO being the hottest thing.
I was
and-
a WCW mark most of that
Yeah.
time. Yeah.
yeah.
It was he was doing better than Vince. He just did exactly what Vince didn't do, and he just overshot his target.
The
They
group
say the biggest-
dynamic
yeah,
was huge, but they just put it on steroids and they just lost their minds.
18, 19, 20 people. Like you.
Oh,
But that is also why, if you ever notice with Triple H right now, he learned from that.
yes.
He learned from even the
The
bit the
groups
nation,
are perfect.
the
They're
nation
not
of
too
the
big. Yeah.
3 and 4 the way you need to go. Nation domination. The
DX.
DX. What's the other one? They had
There are a
another
few
one
of them.
back then. I can't remember. Yeah, they had a bunch of groups. I mean, Vince ran with groups for a long time. I could
Yeah.
see why he was tired
Remember
of
the
them.
corporation, there was
Yeah.
the ministry. The ministry, I think there was a corporation ministry,
It was
whatever
a-
they
it
called
was-
themselves.
It was the corporation, and then it was the ministry, then it was the corporate ministry. But that's just when everything was ending. It didn't.
yeah.
It didn't
really
matter
matter.
at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah. Well, I mean, I mean, we're almost close to half an hour. But
Yes.
let's finish though up on the Undertaker.
Oh
yeah.
yeah. You want to talk about that
tremendous
interview? Yeah.
with Chris Van Vliet. We'll link it. It's like almost a 2-hour interview. I mean, it's that, and it's riveting. It's great.
Oh, he can go
He had
long. That's why
yeah,
he didn't talk for
not only
20
with
years.
his entrance, but he had one with it.
He can
And
go
he was
long.
joking about that too with his entrances. He
Oh, yeah.
loved it. Johnny, is he like? God, we talk about all-time greats. He's got to be one of my all-time, maybe top 2. I mean, I'm a big Shawn Michaels guy. I've always been
Yeah.
a Shawn Michaels guy. But not enough love goes to this. I mean, we don't talk about him not enough. I think the way he came
He
in.
talks about himself a lot.
He does, but
No, I love
I
him.
mean, but tell me, like, what are your thoughts on him? Like, on his career, on his, like, everything.
So
Something
here's
I've always wanted to ask you about him.
here's a
actually.
weird thing with the Undertaker. So when he was in WCW, because I'm an NWA WCW guy, I wasn't a WWE guy.
Yep.
My uncle who got me into wrestling, many moons ago, the 1986 Starrcade. That's like my start of wrestling.
That's a while back. Yeah.
So people kind of understand. So Undertaker was part of many things in wrestling, and like he'll say green as shit when he was doing it, but you could always see dude was big and could move.
Yeah.
Like he was big and he could move. And then when he came out in Survivor Series in 1993, you needed someone for Hogan at that time. Smart play. The thing that I respect the most out of him is he knew when to change
Yeah.
and when to change back. Did he go entirely too long? Probably 10 years too long. Probably 10 years too long.
A couple of Saudi shows will do
For
that
my
for you.
walking, yeah.
Yeah.
There was
Do you think he should have retired after the Roman Reigns match?
probably even before that.
I mean, he had a perfect send-off. He really did. I mean, he
But probably before that. He probably should have left when Brock beat him, but Brock should have never beat him.
Boy, that's another 4 or 5 minutes. We could talk about that.
I know.
match.
I'm just going to leave it out. I'll just let that linger because Brock should
Yeah.
have never beat him. There was no
Yeah.
reason for Brock to beat The Undertaker is like crashing a car for no reason. There's
Yeah.
no reason for it.
You're talking streak, and I mean, gosh, we could go forever on that one.
You
but
could have ended that. You could
Oh.
end that streak with Punk, which
Yeah.
would have been extremely divisive. You could have ended that streak with Edge,
Edge could
which
have
would
done
have
it.
catapulted Edge to the next stratosphere. But you didn't.
Yeah, probably. You were talking
Shawn
27.
Michaels could have beat him.
Yeah, any one of the two.
Think about if Shawn Michaels
If he
when you
won
do
25,
if you do retirement for streak and Shawn Michaels super kicks his head off, does Shawn Michaels literally cement himself as the greatest professional wrestler ever? I understand why he retires, and I understand why they understand, but you had opportunities, and your dumbass picked Brock Lesnar.
yeah. I don't know. That's a debate I think we'll have to save when Steve goes on vacation next year. Johnny.
And
We'll
Roman
see.
could have beat him. If you keep him, let's just say he beats Brock, and you move on and you get to Roman surely could have beat him. I'd have been
Yeah.
okay with that.
Yeah.
If that's your next guy.
Yeah.
I always had this small little theory is that Roman should beat The Undertaker, and then The Undertaker should kidnap Roman, and Roman would become The Undertaker. I always said that would be the best, because I hate
Oh.
Roman so much. Him not
Yeah.
speaking for 20 years would make me So that was always my cosplay
That was your fantasy
thing in my
booking.
head. That's how I got Roman out of my head when I would like.
Oh, that's
I
great.
was like, what should happen is he should be The Undertaker, so he doesn't have to talk for
No, that's
because I
funny.
can't stand him.
Well, on that note, Johnny, that was great. Appreciate you doing this. This entire wrestling. I think that was great. Kind of get a good chunk of wrestling talk. That should be pretty
Yes.
good for our audience there, in case we ever have that. But episode 196 comes to a close.
Hey,
John,
let's-
and of
let's
course,
get out of here.
Steve will be back. We want to wish everybody happy July 4th, of course,
Yes.
when this episode comes out.
Yep.
It'll be, I think it'll be Independence Day Eve, that kind of a deal,
Yes,
July 3rd.
yes.
So
Be
yeah.
safe. Don't
Yeah,
drink
but
and
see,
drive.
Don't do it, Jason Pierre Paul. Don't put
Yes.
don't light a firecracker in your hand and hold
Or
it there.
or
Just-
Justin Timberlake. Don't do any of that stuff.
Don't
Be
send
safe.
your-
Be with your family.
yeah, exactly. Have fun, all that kind of good stuff.
Yes.
So
Enjoy food.
until then, this is Matt. This is John. Take care and get out. Thanks for checking out this episode of Two Noobs Talking. For more information about our podcast, feel free to check out our website located at twonoobstalking.wordpress.com, and we'll see you next week.